Episode 2000 of Joe Rogan.
The Joe Rogan
The
experience.
Rogie Man.
Hi, meow meow.
This is a clip.
Hi, ruff ruff. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Yeah. This is our first podcast coming out as our true selves. We're furry. Yeah, we've been.
People were speculating on their subreddit like, who's the guest gonna be for episode 2000, and this is what they did instead, which is very funny.
Holding it in forever.
This is my true identity. And you know what? It just eats me alive to not tell how we met at a furry con.
So, any furry could tell you those are not what fursuits look like. So the caricature of what fursuits look like is like mascot costumes. For a mascot, that's pretty good. That looks like a very good sports mascot costume. But that does not look like a fursuit. Way too bulky, way too big. Head proportions are really weird. Very few people have that sort of thing.
Well, we didn't know that we met there. Remember?
Well, yeah,
Yeah, they're fake furries.
I didn't know who you were for a long time.
Yeah, we did.
And they always, every single movie that's like, oh, this character's a furry, and then they see that you show their fursuit, it's like, okay, that's not, it's so obviously fake.
Yeah.
There's like maybe one or two movies or shows or whatever that exists where it's like, oh, they just get people who are really furries to like bring their fursuit as like a costume, and then it works.
Didn't know. I'm like, oh my god, you're meow meow?
Dude, it blew my mind. I mean, to me, that is proof we're in a simulation. Because what are the odds?
They're not good.
What are the odds, man?
The
that I
odds
would
are
be-
also not good that I'm going to keep this fucking helmet on. Oh my god, I'm
This is
sweating.
not good for me. I'm not keeping this on, dude.
I wonder how long they had it on before they like started recording too. It's funny to think
I
that.
can barely breathe.
How do they do it?
I don't
All this smoke, is it weed?
know. They fuck with these
How do we
things
do
on.
it?
How do you fuck with this on?
They smoke cigars too.
They also smoke cigars, and yeah, I'm sure they have
Skill
incense.
issue.
So now they're saying, how do you fuck with the suit on?
Skill issue.
They're heroes. Those
Total
people are
respect.
heroes.
Total respect for furries now.
Respect for the furry community. Look, I
Holy,
got the
it's
feet
like-
on and everything.
It's like Bikram fucking.
See that those foot paws would be a lot more detailed if this was a real furry. Look at this.
Yeah, I hate that he put it up.
We're scrutinizing this furry
The feet on
accuracy
and
here.
everything.
It's like
Not a real furry.
You wouldn't see a football like that at a con.
Bikram.
And also, you wouldn't call it a helmet. You'd call it a fursuit head. But yeah, there's some.
Yeah. It's very...
Oh, here's a fun fact. So if anybody's wondering why Joe Rogan follows me on Twitter, it's because at one point, years ago, like probably like 4-5 years ago, he was like, "Furries are so interesting, man. Like, I should interview somebody." And people were like, "Adam." And then I was like, "Yes, me." And then he followed me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm willing to come on." And then he like never reached, he never like followed up with it. I was like, "Oh, dang it," because that would have been fun to be on Joe Rogan. And I actually have a lot of like peers, like YouTubers, you know, non-furries, who have told me like literally the exact same story, where he'll like reach out to someone on Twitter and then like not do it. Like I don't know if he got like high or bored or whatever, or like I don't know.
Forgot.
very hot in here. If you can fuck with this on, you're an American hero.
yeah.
That's how I feel.
Real fursuits are
called
a
an
bit more
American hero
breathable
by Joe Rogan.
than what you have. Sorry,
I'm so proud.
you're an American hero.
Joe Rogan called me an American hero.
You're a hero.
David Goggins needs to put on one of these things and
Yeah.
fuck for an hour.
He should. Yeah, you think you're so cool running for 1,000 miles? How about fuck for 4.5 minutes with this on?
I can't fuck for 4.5 minutes without it on, but
This is like sprinting uphill.
He can't fuck without it, is what he said.
this is
First
really
is good cardio just by itself.
Yeah.
brutal. And just thinking about padding around a Ramada in one of these things.
But I
just don't-
get it.
Orlando
How-
outside
what do you mean
in the
you get it?
summer.
I get it when
Yeah, Megaplex was
what-
just
what
in
do
the
you mean
news.
You get it, Joe Rogan?
I put it on. I get it. I know why they do it. I don't know why.
Okay, here's the question, which is there's a really obvious answer to this now that I think about it. Like, there's obviously porn of these two fucking now.
Oh my god.
There's obviously like someone drew
Somebody
porn of Joe Rogan Wolf and I forget this guy's name. Duncan Trussell, whose voice is very familiar, but I don't know what I know him from. Maybe just Joe Rogan shit.
All of them do it.
There has to be porn of them now.
Wait, why?
really
Why
having
do
a
you
hard
think
time
they do
breathing.
it?
I think they do it because it offers you an anonymity that is impossible any other way.
Right.
And it turns you into your image, the visual that people get of you is this adorable, cute mascot.
Right.
Everybody loves a mascot. The mascot is literally there to pump everybody up and yay, and they don't talk
Yay.
and everybody loves them.
Yeah.
And
Right.
the people at Disneyland, same thing.
Wait, they don't talk?
No. They don't talk.
I mean, some furries
Joe
don't.
Rogan kind of got it. He was getting it. He understood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we talked.
It is funny.
Like if you meet Goofy, Goofy doesn't say jack shit to you.
Goofy's not a furry.
Yeah, Goofy.
He went to Goofy's kitchen.
Max.
Goofy doesn't talk.
Yeah, it's like
I can't.
I can't do it. Oh my god.
It's so hard to breathe. It's so hard to breathe. It's horrible. How about those fucking people that work at Disneyland that wear these things and they walk
Jesus
around in the heat
Christ.
in the summer? Respect to them.
Dude, those Disneyland like the
I'm sure they got like fans and shit in there.
people who do this at Disneyland,
Heroes.
they party.
I bet they.
I heard it's like insane when they get off work. Like they fucking party.
First of all, it's not even their fault. Their brains have been cooked all day. Do you know what kind of effect that must have
Oh
on
my
your
God.
cognitive function?
Dude, like while we're bitching because they made us wear masks on planes.
He reminds me of fuck, what's that HBO show that I really love that had like 4 seasons and that got canceled? And it's like a different like story every episode. High Maintenance. He reminds me of the High Maintenance guy a little.
He does. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
kind of got. A little
Forget
bit
his
of
name.
it.
They're going around in a hot box.
I bet they made them wear a mask under their stupid mask.
Guarantee it.
That's true. But there was no way for them to check, so they didn't enforce it. They're not going to be like, "Oh, take off your fursuit head at like the convention." You know, unless there's like a point where they need to like check ID or something.
I bet they
Guarantee
did. I
it.
bet they did. Those,
Get mask
fucking
up.
dorks.
Now he's getting back into the audience capture stuff.
You had to mask up in your goofy outfit.
Goofy.
You got good outfits though. These are dope.
Dude, these are incredible and it's kind of sad.
You got like a really fucking cheap, like bulky mascot costume, and they're like, "This is incredible. I can see why they do it." They don't even have like good They have like movie prop fursuits, like cheap movie prop fursuits, like not something that someone would actually buy. You know?
That
We can't-
Fursuits, they'd be furries. 100%.
I think most people, you know, like I've had friends that I brought to furry conventions, and then like, you know, another one of my friends will like have like an extra fursuit. They'll be like, "Oh, try it on," and like everybody fucking loves it. Everybody's like, "Oh shit, this is
great.
awesome."
Yeah.
So like, there's different reasons for someone being a furry. You know, like some social, some cosplay, some sexual. You know, like it's all over the fucking place. It's a spectrum, but like, I don't know, like it's only weird because it's weird. It's only weird because most people don't do it. Like if you were to remove like, I don't know, most shit religious people do from the norms of society. If you were to like look at how the Pope dresses or how nuns dress, you'd be like, if that wasn't already a normal thing that has just been existing for forever,
They look
we'd be like,
weird.
what the fuck are you doing? Right? So in the same sense, it's like, okay, well, this is just like a new thing, and that's why people are reacting weirdly to it, right? So
We're pussies.
of all the costumes we've worn,
Yeah.
I think this is the least time we've spent. Like,
Yeah.
even the hoods.
But I was like almost like hyperventilating in there.
Dude, I was panicking. Oh, you can see this awful wall.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
But don't you get it though? If you were like a very tortured, socially awkward person,
Yes.
your life has just
Why
been
we
a
gotta be
mess.
Why do we
it
have to
took
be
him like a
tortured?
minute from being like, these people are American heroes. I totally get it. Like, it's great. Everybody thinks you're like this cute thing. And then he remembered who his audience was. He's like, yeah, if you're like a piece of shit and you're like, you know, you're the worst, like he has to now like rationalize it in this deprecating way where it's like, okay, all right.
but you are, for whatever reason, attracted sexually to the idea of it, or maybe not even.
Not everybody.
Sexually, maybe just attracted to the idea of it. But then you do it, and you get to be not just innocuous, not just like someone that doesn't get, like someone that gets picked on, not that, but instead attractive. You're this adorable thing.
You're fucking hot, bro.
You're adorable. Like, hey, and people they come up to you with a different energy.
Dude, I've seen some really hot furry porn. Like, I've seen some incredible furry porn.
I think most people have that thought in their head, but are not brave enough to say it. I think that most people have seen at least one image where they're like,
Okay,
that's pretty hot,
I get it.
but they're not brave enough to say it.
I don't know. I think that but how much exposure do you think people have?
Well, yeah, the average person has
depends,
not
yeah.
seen quality furry porn because most of what people share is like, isn't this cringe? Somebody made like a fucking Sonichu pooping on somebody. Like, of course, those are the ones that get shared, but like like if
I mean, like I feel like I know a lot of people like outside of my furry circles who are barely aware, if not aware, that furries even exist.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Duncan Trussell has been on E621 is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Worst furry point. Have you ever seen something like, God, you guys aren't even trying?
I love how Joe Rogan brings us back. He's like, yeah, you might think that some of it's hot, but what about the bad stuff?
I've seen some really hot furry porn. Like, I've seen some incredible furry porn.
What's the worst furry point? Have you ever seen
Immediately, what's the worst one?
something like, God, you guys aren't even trying?
What's the worst furry porn you've seen? That's a question. He just asked.
Those are still shots, usually, like weird Polaroids and stuff of like
Oh yeah, and then now we realize that when they say furry porn, they mean people fucking in fursuits and not actual drawn images, and that their version of what they think furry porn is people having sex in animal costumes. So I guess Duncan Trussell has clicked on a few too many videos on like Pornhub or something, I guess. I don't know. Which is still furry porn, but that's not what I think of when I think
porn
of furry porn.
furries more than it's furry porn.
True. That's a good way to put it. Shay is furry adjacent. He is not a furry. Anybody listening in this YMS highlights clip that we're making.
like so, and generally those are like solo furries who are banging a stuffed animal. Like,
That's the worst he's seen. Which is so funny. Like, I've seen this shit too in the sense of like, I've been on 4chan. Like, there's a very popular image of some like really fat guy fucking like a stuffed raccoon. Sorry, Olivia, you're gonna have to bleep out a lot. I'm sorry. But like, it's so popular in the sense that like people just share it to gross people out. That I'm positive you've seen it, Shay, because I know you used to go on 4chan. I'm positive. I know you've seen this exact image without ever having this conversation with you.
Yeah.
Because you've been on 4chan, right? It's a part of it, like a generational thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
so Duncan Trussell is probably in that same camp.
Yeah. The subgroup of people who visit some certain
Who visit a website where anyone can make it to the front page without any sort of like curation or moderation.
In the pre algorithm days.
Yeah.
So like where you're anybody who visited the site was seeing the same thing,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it was like the newspaper,
classic.
you know, and everybody who reads this newspaper is gonna remember these stories or this author, right?
Yeah,
Like,
the newspaper showing a really fat
just
guy
that,
taking a video of himself having sex with a stuffed raccoon.
Yeah, people are gonna remember that, especially if they report on
remember.
it every single day for like years.
Yeah, like just it not only grossed enough people out, but it grossed enough people out for them to save it to their own hard drives to gross other people out later, which is fucking hilarious.
This is what happens when you get hard drives. Just
Ban hard drives.
I don't know anything about
that
this.
sucks. That's not cool. That's not cool. But
What do they do? Like put a fleshlight in a stuffed animal?
No, they don't.
You say no, but that service
mean,
does exist, and I have not used that service, but it does exist. There are people that are plushies.
It happens.
There are people that are plushies.
They're not that advanced. They just rip a hole and.
We're in the stone. Furries are way more advanced sexually than any other subculture ever.
Absolutely.
If you can think of like, oh yeah, how would you have sex in this sort of thing? Furries have already figured it out. We're like way ahead of everybody else. We're like, okay, we've got like a cooling fan on this fucking thing and like a fucking sex swing and like blah blah blah. Like it's down to a science. Imagine the promiscuity of the gay community combined with absolute nerd autism. And think about what that creates. You've got the furry community. You've got a bunch of gay nerds, and they've figured this shit out to a fucking science. That's what this is.
In the fucking thing's butt and just like leave their
Furries are very sexually advanced, is what I'm saying.
crusted jizz on.
So I made an analogy about a week ago, and I said it in jest. It's not completely serious, but I want to know what you have to say about it. I said mascots are the blackface of fursuits. Is that completely out of line and inappropriate, or do you think that there's something there?
What?
If we were to make an analogy, mascots, when I said that they like appear in movies of like, oh yeah, this is like what a fursuit is, but it's not like really. Blackface is a little extreme, I know, but
or not.
I didn't mean to make you speechless. I was hoping for something funny.
I mean, I guess it's true.
Thank you. That's what I wanted.
On it as some mark of achievement or something. Really bad.
Oh,
Really bad.
human beings are
I don't
so
know if I
weird.
allow it, femboys.
You don't know if you allow it?
I don't know if I allow it, but it might
Okay.
be true. It might be true.
All right. We'll let you
I
think
gotta
about
think
it.
about it. I gotta think.
All
about
right.
it.
We're gonna come back next week with a definitive answer on that statement.
In so
I was making a joke, but
many ways.
Yeah.
I feel like there is some truth to it.
In
Not comparable,
so many ways.
but comparable.
But it's like, it's so funny. It's like media, like Norman Rockwell paintings. There's just like image of us that we are when we're at our best. The
Yeah.
family dinner table in a 1980s movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's us when we're at our best. Everyone's getting along.
Not objectively. And also that's like a caricature of people being at their best. That's like a
Wait,
facade.
what was
That's
the
like
sentence?
he was like, so Joe Rogan has a legitimate fascination for the human species, and he's like, man, fucking furries are weird. And he attributes that to just like human beings are weird, which I think that is like appropriate, you know,
Yeah.
like human beings do weird shit,
course.
religion, etc. Right? I'd
Mhm.
put that in like a similar category, and he's trying to make a contrast, being like, man, like, you know, furries versus, you know, this model image of society of like mom and pop and family and stuff. Is like, I don't know, it seems, I know that you have that in your head, and a lot of like traditionalists have that in their head of this like oh, the perfect family model, and like let's go back to, like, a lot of conservatives have this like weirdly idealistic perspective of the world, but it's like, I don't know, it's kind of fantasy. Like a lot of this shit, like you look statistics wise of like when you think that like the perfect family model existed, and there was like a lot of like domestic violence, there was like a lot of like mental issues and depression and like people
Alcoholism.
beating their kids. Like the further back in time you go, like more people like fucking like you know, like sure it was on postcards, sure it was like in propaganda to like, you know, create an image of like a society that you would aspire to have, but I don't know if it's like an accurate version of like what people are, is what I'm saying. Like sure, maybe some families,
It takes the right circumstances to make that happen, like comfortably.
yeah, it's a very idealistic utopian worldview.
Well, paintings. There's just like image of us that we are when we're at our best. The
Yeah.
family dinner table in a 1980s movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's us when we're at our best. Everyone's getting along. How's school going, Junior?
Yeah.
Junior's doing great. But the reality is, like,
It's such a mental image, you know? Like there's so many instances of people being like, oh yeah, everybody was like this at one point in time, when it's not really true. It's just like that was like this fabricated version of like what people were thinking that they were.
like there's no license to get a person. You don't have a license to become pregnant. You don't have to go through any qualification process.
Right.
Well, a lot of people you're friends with want to outlaw abortion, so
It's literally the most important thing
Yep.
for the future of the human race.
Yeah.
That people who have children and raise those children are capable of doing it.
I love that they don't even have like detachable hand paws, so he's got an itchy nose and he scratches it with like he's gonna I haven't seen this full episode, but the idea of him like wearing this costume sans head the entire episode is really funny to me.
Who have children and raise those children are capable of doing it. You're capable of raising a well-adjusted person.
Yeah.
Like any person growing up as a human being today, baby to grown up. Like you're born today and you got to become a grown up in this fucking wacky world.
Yeah.
Good luck being normal.
Oh my God.
But who cares about being normal at this point? Who even cares about being normal? Like, what do you mean good? What do you mean good luck being normal?
Yeah, I think
Is that the goal to aspire to? I think that it's interesting that society has progressed to a point where that's not necessarily the goal. Like the goal should be you should be happy and do whatever works for you. But unfortunately, a lot of people making advice videos on the internet and, you know, a lot of like conservative political pundits will often say, this is the worldview that works for everyone, when in reality it's like, oh, some things just work differently for different people, you know? Like, I'm not gonna say what works for me works for fucking everybody else. Like fucking furry cons and shit. Like, obviously that's not what most people benefit from, but it works for me. And for someone to say like, oh no, you gotta like have a heterosexual relationship and like family, like obviously that doesn't work for me. Like I've tried all the shit that you say. you know, like
people just like this idea of like I figured it out and now I've got the secret and I have to tell I have to tell people.
I'm 26 years old.
Solve the problem.
And I've never had a relationship, but I'm gonna give relationship advice. You know, like so many of those on the internet. It's so crazy. But yeah, it's really interesting. I love that they did Furry episode 2000, but I really would have been cool to have been on Joe Rogan, but I guess that's never going to happen.
Thanks for watching. Here's the patron list for June 2023. Andres Avila, Easy Game 69, Nico Fuentes, Joel999, Wriggle Moss, Speak of the Joker, No Rope, T King, Salive88, Trouble Man, Sammy Newton, Orange Juice Slurper has a tumor in her head the size of a peanut. Yup, yup, yup. Caden Mack, Charisma, the Super 1 player, Zachary Kane, Gillyflower, Mandel Bro, Purple Fire, Gabriel Herrera, Hoofy Doe, and Lemonade Warrior is participating in the hit game Among Us and is considered the encroacher. Happy Pride, everybody.